Coach, what have you seen so far? What do you like? What do you don't like?
Well, a lot of mistakes. Probably the thing I like more than anything is just the tempo and the effort that these guys are playing with. Can't really tell until you get them out here and actually play. But for the most part, the effort's been real good, and a bunch of tough guys. So that's good.
You look like a guy doesn't get too bothered when you see mistakes out there. Is that just your nature?
Right now, well, I don't know what time you guys showed up. We told the team this 3 days ago before the first practice, and then again yesterday, and then again today, that we're not going to get mad about mistakes. We're going to get mad if effort's bad. We're going to get mad, if they're not paying attention. If they're got a little bit of a lazy streak, if they're not playing very smart, we'll get mad about stuff like that. But just as far as mistakes go, we're not going to get too upset about that. As spring goes on and we continue to make the same mistakes, that's when you'll see me get pretty angry.
This is the third day you guys are installing the offense. What's next after this?
Just go back to day one, and just repeat it. We'll do that probably 12 times. There are really four times throughout the course of spring. You start mixing some scrimmages in later in the spring, but for the most part, you just keep repeating everything.
Do you feel like you guys are where you need to be at the end of this week? I mean, day 1, day 2, day 3, just to be starting this process over. Do you feel like the guys are in the right spot?
Yeah, I think so. We moved a couple of guys around after the first practice, but for the most part, we're just trying to get a bunch of film and be able to evaluate it. And then as we go through next week, we'll be able to look back on what day one was and compare it to what the second time through is and see where we're kind of at that standpoint. So, the main thing is right now is just getting guys lined up, teach them, get a bunch of reps, and then, look at it, gauge it, and try to get better next week.
That seems to be your philosophy of practice in general. Just don't correct a lot of things out here. Just let them go inside and,
right.
and do the film work inside.
Yeah, I mean, you only get 15 practices, right? And we're so hands off with these guys for half the year, that we got 4 hours a day, and we had to meet. We had to meet. We had to let them get dressed. We had to get them out here. You only got a certain amount of time, and you got to take advantage of that time. And the best way to take advantage of it is to actually play football. And then take a big pile of film and just evaluate it over the course of the next 6 months leading into camp.
So when was the last time you decided thinking it didn't happen?
It would have happened last year if we had an indoor at Oklahoma. At Oklahoma State, we just didn't have one. We should have probably went outside. I mean, I'd rather go out there and practice than be here any day. But sometimes you got to do it.
How's the talent here compared to what you've had to work with in the past?
I don't know yet. One thing I think that this offense allows you to do is develop kids. So you take guys like you guys won't remember this name, but a guy like Joel Filani, who is two-time All Big 12 first-team receiver his junior and his senior year. Went to the league and played a little bit. He was absolutely terrible for 2 straight years. So guys develop. So, this is the beginning product, which, and I think the talent's fine. But the way guys develop is going to be what's most important to me. I mean, last year at Oklahoma State, Justin Blackman was probably the 3rd best receiver about 2 weeks into camp. And just based on development and maturity, ended up being pretty good.
When he was the 3rd best receiver, did you envision him progressing like that? And is there anybody here that's
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Sorry, you want me to give you a name?
If you got one.
No, I don't have one. I mean,
If you got 2.
I wish I had 3. You can't tell. I don't know. I mean, this was first day of pads that, and I got an idea of what I saw, but we'll go in and watch a version of the tape and kind of look at it and see. But just over the course of spring, we'll be able to figure out who we feel like can develop in your camp.
What makes a kid that catches 19 passes as a freshman and suddenly, 2 weeks in is your 3rd best receiver and winning the Olympic golf? What makes a kid do that?
Just, maturity, I think, is the biggest thing. I mean, he was 180 pounds out of high school. You know, so you don't know how kids are going to develop from the ages of 18 and 22. He's a real smart guy, so he absorbed a lot. You know, he was a dedicated guy. He got in the weight room. You know, just all the stuff that, you know, it's that doesn't happen naturally. You know, you take, you know, some guys that are just naturally very gifted that don't have to work very hard and can still be productive. You take guys that have to work at it, and you couple that with being smart and a maturity process, and you never know where it can go.
Lard seems to have a handle on it, like guys who were in high school. Pleased with what you're seeing so far?
Yeah, at times. You know, Paul's a smart kid. He played in an offense like this, so he understands a lot of the concepts. You know, we're playing at a very fast rate, and I'm force feeding him, and I'm force feeding Gino too. But they stare a hole through me sometimes because they don't get it, and that's what they're supposed to do. If they get it, they turn. If they don't get it, they stare at me, and that bothers me at times. But I get aggravated and tell them to hurry up and go and yell at him, and Jake, my GA, stands behind him and goes and communicates it. You know, but we're teaching him, and I'm doing that on purpose. But he does understand it, you know, and but it's still his head is very cloudy.
How about
Very cloudy.
as far as picking up the
You can tell he's played more. You know, he's got experience. You know, his body language is great. He bounces around. You know, he's a leader. You know, his head's cloudy too. You know, but as each practice goes on, they'll get it a little bit more. You can tell from the beginning of practice to the end of practice that they work at a little better rate.
Gino obviously has a stronger arm than the other two kids. I mean, is that because he has a stronger arm, or he's maybe a little bit more
I don't think he
confident?
does. I don't think he does. It's pretty comparable to me. I don't care about arm strength. That's about number 9 on my list. So,
But what's 1 through 8 on your list?
well, just, you know, things like, you know, I mean, intelligence, you know, football knowledge, work ethic in the classroom, and work ethic in the film room. You know, feet are good, quick release is good. You know, having the ability to be able to work the pocket is good, feel the pocket is good. All that stuff's more important than true arm strength.
How has Ivan McCartney done?
Good,
First few
good.
practices?
Mm-hmm. Done well. Got a long ways to go. Better than last year, from what I hear.
Can you talk about what you've seen out of Tavon? I know there was talk before or last year about the whole running back wideout thing. I talked to him yesterday. He said he's comfortable where he is. He's learning one position. I mean, have you seen that development in this offense already?
We're not going to have anybody play 2 positions. I don't even want anybody playing inside and outside receiver. I mean, that just defeats the purpose of being able to get your skills really good at what you're doing. So he's settled in at inside receiver. I think that's where he belongs. You know, and we'll get him real good at that, and try to get him good at being a return guy, and that's plenty for him. There'll be plenty of touches.
Tyler Urban, also another guy who last year didn't see as big a role in the offense. It seems like at least in the portions of practice that we've been able to see, he's caught a few balls, made a couple nice catches. What have you seen out of him yourself?
Yeah, he catches the ball well. You know, he doesn't. You know, everybody views it, and it depends on where you've been. But around here, people view slot receivers as the Tavon kind of guys, the Jock Sanders kind of guys. I mean, I've used tight ends as slot receivers before. I mean, body types don't matter. It's getting in the right spot. You know, being able to catch the ball in traffic, that stuff's pretty important as well too. And then being able to block linebackers is pretty important. And having the bigger bodies that can block linebackers is good.
So what hard transition to make, splitting out from tight end to a slot?
I've never viewed it to be.
One of the things you try to coach a guy like that is 250 pounds in the slot.
Lose weight.
Does he need to lose weight?
Nah, he's fine. I mean, he'll be able to, you know, I mean, we'll be able to use him in a lot of different ways. I mean, this is just the beginning of what we'll do with him. We'll be able to motion him around some and kick out on DNs and use him as a third back and stuff like that. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that we can do, but none of that stuff's in right now. You know, I mean, so we're just hitting the base stuff right now and force feeding everybody and seeing who can do what.